Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christopher Schaub, and we'll be going over Dexter Gordon's Go 1962 release this evening. If you like the channel and you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe, share with your friends. So Dexter Gordon Go, recorded in 1962 in Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey at the Van Gelder Studios. This is a great sounding album that was redone recently by Kevin Gray. Clear Audio for Blue Note, and Blue Note has put this out. Kevin Gray's stuff is always great, from the original master tapes down to 180 gram vinyl. Highly recommend you get the vinyl, but you can also, in the description, you'll find a link to buy the vinyl and also to stream it via Songwhip, via iTunes, Spotify, whatever you desire. So Dexter Gordon is in the pantheon of great jazz tenor saxophone players. He is up there. Born in California, influenced by Lester Young, and then later on he influenced John Coltrane and Sonny Rollins, and then they later on influenced him. So he's a big guy, very tall guy, very influential figure. He's a member of Lionel Hampton's band, Billy Eckstine's group, Louis Armstrong's group, Fletcher Henderson's band. So he started his career playing in swing, and then in bebop, hard bop, and then beyond, and then moved to Europe for 14 years and came back and was in movies, and it just lived a really wonderful life. Sadly, we had to move to Europe, stayed there 14 years right around the time after he made this recording, and was there because a lot of jazz musicians moved from, especially African American jazz musicians, found that in Europe they experienced less racism, they made better money, they had less problems touring and playing, and so he did that for 14 years and eventually was persuaded to come back to New York City, but was born in California. He again is known for his really soulful and beautiful lush tone. Okay, so when you listen to Dexter Gordon, he's kind of like, for me, like the perfect tenor saxophone, because he just has it all. And in guys like Joe Henderson, I hear Dexter Gordon and things. So, and later players, I think he kind of had a really positive influence on a lot of people's tone because he just set the bar so high. So this recording is Dexter Gordon on tenor saxophone, Sonny Clark on piano, Butch Warren on bass, and Billy Higgins on drums. Billy Higgins is in my top 2 or 3 drummers, jazz drummers. Billy has got it all. Smooth, never breaks the flow, always is just playing really great time, has really great ideas, good comping, meaning his ideas behind the other musicians, behind the soloist. He's complementing what they're doing in just a really smooth way. Notice his right hand on the cymbals is very straight but very swinging. Ding, 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 ding. It's really straight, but it's got a certain feel to it that's kind of hard to describe, but you'll know what I mean when you hear it. And his left hand is playing little figures that never break the flow and never get in the way of the horn player or the other musicians. He's just a wonderful drummer. And if you haven't spent a lot of time listening to him, I highly encourage it. So the tracks: Cheesecake, Dexter Gordon, 1962. It's an AABA song form. If you don't know what that is, you should watch the first 2 videos because I go over song form and a lot of vocabulary that I'm going to use in these videos. Each section is 16 bars. Each A section is 16 bars, followed by an 8-bar B section, and then another 16-bar A section. It's medium swing. Great melody in a minor key, which is a little unusual, but really a nice choice. Listen for the crisp hi-hats up front. Hi-hat is a suspended cymbal with a foot pedal. It's 2 cymbals, and instead of closing them with his foot, he's closing them with his hand, and it's like a tss, 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 tss. It's hard to do with your mouth. But it gives that sort of like swinging kind of a, similar to the ride pattern, the ride cymbal pattern, but it's on the hi-hat, and it's used a lot of times in intros. And listen to how Billy Higgins does it on Cheesecake. Gordon had an album called Cheesecake as well. And he wrote the tune, so that makes sense. Next tune on side A is I Guess I'll Hang My Tears Out to Dry, Jule Styne, Sammy Cahn, 1944. It's an AABA tune, 8-bar sections across the board. Ballad, it's a torch song, it's a love, sort of like a sad love song, lost love song. Listen to his tone. His tone conveys the sadness, the sort of mystery, the longingness. It's very smoky. It's really great. Dexter Gordon really gets the emotion across correctly. It's really clear what he's trying to say. Listen to the brushes Billy Higgins playing. Lays a great texture. The brushes are like wire, like drumsticks made out of wire that scratch along the surface of the snare drum head, and they provide sort of like a white noise texture, and it's a really nice platform over which people can play like solos, and it sets a nice grounding to the tone. And then the last tune on side A is Second Balcony Jump. A jump is an older type of a song form, kind of popular song. There's blues jumps, there's jazz jumps, they're kind of sometimes dance music. It's by Billy Eckstine and Gerald Valentine. It's AABA in 8-bar phrases, so 8-8-8-8. And it's funny that it's second balcony jump, meaning jump off the second balcony. Don't do that. But it's sort of a tongue-in-cheek title, which is kind of interesting. Medium swing, real relaxed. It's more soul pop, and it fits the hard bop kind of a feel. The thing that is interesting about this album is that the genre is hard bop for this record. But when I think of hard bop, I usually think of Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. Hard driving music that's a reaction to bebop, which was fast and furious, frenetic, kind of virtuosic kind of music. Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, that kind of stuff. Hard bop is usually a driving sort of, a little bit more soulful. It's got some gospel in it. It's got a lot of blues, popular tunes. It's trying to be more of an everyman's music. It comes out of New York City. Some people say it's a reaction to sort of West Coast cool jazz that was happening. It's more of a California thing. This is more of an East Coast thing. Though I think I read somewhere that Art Blakey said, well, no, it was more of a reaction to bebop. We wanted to have something that had a little more soul, a little bit more grit to it. And so this is considered hard bop, this album, but I don't consider this album hard or driving. I consider this album more smooth, and it's considered hard bop, I think, because of the other elements that it brings in, and also when it came out. It came out in the era of hard bop, and it roughly fits within it stylistically, but if you listen to it compared to like an Art Blakey recording, they're very different. So it's hard bop, but kind of. So second side starts with Love for Sale by Cole Porter, 1930, AABA, 16-bar sections, so 16, 16, 16, 16. Notice the vamp at the top. It's a pseudo-Latin kind of a feel. Billy Higgins just crushes this. If you're a drummer and you haven't tried to play this, you should. It sounds way easier than it is, and especially to play it the way he's playing it. It's so smooth. And then they play 2 A sections of sort of like a jazzy Latin feel, and then they go into a B section, which is straight ahead swing. And so that gives a nice contrast and a nice difference in sound from the Latin, and then they go back to another A section with Latin music. Let's see here. It's from the musical The New Yorkers, so maybe you can rent that and listen for the song Love for Sale. It's my favorite song on the record. And again, this record just sounds great, but that one really sounds great. Next tune on side B is Where Are You? Jimmy McHugh, Harold Adamson, 1937, AABA, 8-bar sections, 8-measure sections, and just a really nice ballad. It works really well. And then the last tune on side B is 3 O'Clock in the Morning by Julian Robiero and Dorothy Terrace. It's repeating A section of 16 bars. And it's a medium swing, kind of an old school song form written in 1919. It's a really famous song mentioned in The Great Gatsby and a lot of other musicals and books and movies. It starts with a 2 feel. So normally you have like a 2 feel or a 4 feel if it's in a sort of like a 4/4 time. Normally the bass player would be playing, if it was in 4, the bass player would be playing something like do 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 do, playing, pretty much stating each beat of the 4/4 time. In 4/4, you have 4 beats to the measure the quarter note gets the beat. We talked about that in the first video. With a 2 feel, usually right up top when they play the head or the beginning of the tune, they'll start out and say 1. They'll count it out so that the band knows it should be like a 2 feel. And instead of playing stating each beat, they'll state just two of the beats. So do 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 do, and then into the 4-feel do 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 do. So they'll play a 2-feel usually for an entire chorus, or sometimes for half of a chorus, and then they'll go into the 4-feel. And it's just a nice contrast that gives the audience time and the ears time to take in the melody and enjoy it and get used to the song and really internalize the melody. And I'm giving you all these sections so that you can actively participate in the listening. And I can tell you as a musician, when you're on stage and playing and you know that people are listening, you play a lot better. And if you train yourself to listen attentively, know where you are in the song, become part of the performance by being an active listener, an engaged listener, then you'll get way more out of it. So try to keep your place, know where you are in the song, especially when they're taking solos. Try to be aware. Sometimes you can even hum the melody to yourself as a little exercise while they're taking the solo, and sort of try to notice like, oh yeah, look, he's quoting the melody, or he's doing something here. I never really thought about that. So again, the song whip links so that you can stream this album are in the description, and the link to buy a Blue Note is in there as well. I'm not affiliated with, I'm not getting anything from that. I'm just posting it for your information. Again, great sounding album. I hope you get it, and I hope you enjoyed this time together.